Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michaela Pochner, and I'm the technology editor at Precision Farming Dealer. I'm joined by Noah Newman, also an editor with Precision Farming Dealer. And thank you so much for joining us today for our digital demo of Record360's ServicePro, a work order management and customer texting tool. Today's presenters are Damon Haber, Record360's co-founder, and Kat Gillis, Record360's COO. Damon and Kat are going to discuss ServicePro and how Record360 helps dealers improve operations and customer service in their rental, service, and sales departments. Before they get started with their presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. On your screen, you'll see the control panel with the Q&A icon. You can submit questions there at any time during the presentation. And we're going to take questions as they come in, so feel free to submit your questions as you think of them, and then I'll ask them to Damon and Kat. And then we're also recording today's session in the event you want to go back and watch or share it with anybody on your team. You'll get an email after this presentation with a link to that recording. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Damon and Kat.
Thank you, Michaela. Appreciate that. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. We're excited to be speaking or demonstrating for you our latest new product, ServicePro. I wanted to go through a quick presentation just about Record360 and our background and the products that we have. And then we're going to flip it over to Kat Gillis to give you a demonstration of ServicePro. And then we're planning on taking questions at the end. But we're also very comfortable with questions during the presentation as well. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully bring up my presentation deck. And hopefully, Kat, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see? Perfect. Okay, so really quickly, as Michaela said, I'm one of the founders of Record360. I came from a rental background, and Record360 was started in 2015 as an inspection tool. And fast forward to where we are today, we've turned into a pretty robust mobile workflows platform that's working with over 1,500 locations in 30 countries in the heavy equipment and trucking space. And while we got our start with this inspection tool, we've really expanded quite a bit. And as you can see, we're with over 600 customers, 40 countries now. I guess I had 30 was wrong. And we operate in 5 languages. So really, if you look at what Record360 is all about, we're giving tools to our customers who are primarily in the heavy-duty equipment and trucking space to support their operations. And the way that we do this is giving them tools that support their rental departments, their service departments, and their sales departments. And ultimately, we're filling gaps that those businesses have in their operation where they can benefit from mobile technology. So the program that we're going to go over with you today is our newest product called ServicePro. And as Michaela talked about, we are giving you a tool, and Kat's going to demonstrate this, to better communicate with your customers and improve the flow of work through your repair shops by using mobile technology to communicate better with those customers via text to accelerate the approvals on the work that you're quoting them. The primary product that is behind all of our products and really where we got our start is InspectPro. And we're going to reference this, but if you guys are interested in this, we can get into more detail on this. But this is our core product that allows you to spin up digital workflows to document assets and events in your business that's completely configurable and customizable to your operation for your different inspection components. And again, we're doing those inspections pretty much from cradle to grave with the equipment. So from delivery from the factory through its rental life, through its service events, maintenance events, all the way through disposition and resale. And the third product we have is SalesPro. And again, we're not going to cover this today, but if you want more information, we're happy to share this and talk about this as well. But what this is designed to do is support the businesses that we're working with to leverage the documentation that they've done over the life of the assets that they're associated with to create listings to quickly sell that equipment at the end of its life by leveraging mobile technology to communicate better with prospective clients and customers. And these listings can be shared across multiple platforms, including Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as using text and email. Quick little snapshot on some of the customers that we're doing business with, the companies. And like you can see, they're mostly companies in the equipment and heavy duty trucking space. And we're real proud to be having the opportunity to speak in front of all of you in the ag space relating to our ServicePro product. And then a couple of things, as I mentioned earlier, we're definitely a mobile first product that, like I said earlier, fills gaps in the businesses that we're working with to create workflows to support, places where you have a need for a mobile solution and you need to do it quickly. But a big part of what we do is we can work across the business, because a lot of you are using multiple technologies and multiple tools. So we're a modern software platform on modern architecture, which allows us to do a lot of integration. And again, one of the challenges people in our industry that we're working with are facing is the multitude of software systems. And what we're focused on doing is being able to support where there's opportunities to support the systems you're using with mobile applications. And some of those examples, we have native integrations with certain DMS systems. We have the ability to consume information on your inventory. We have webhooks, we have an API, and we have an SDK. And again, Kat's going to yell at me because I've exceeded my technical knowledge, but essentially, if you have an integration need, we can support you. The other thing that's really exciting, as being the founder of the company, is we've grown a lot since 2015. And one of the things that we've done in recent years is really maximized our security and protection of data. So we're fully GDPR compliant, and we can pretty much meet any security need of any organization as it relates to technology and integrating data. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kat, where she's going to give you a demonstration of ServicePro.
Awesome. Thanks, Damon. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Damon, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Okay, great. So like Damon said, I'll walk you through our ServicePro product. Primarily lets you text with your customers so that you can move your equipment through the shop faster. So what we see here is your list of work orders. So the very first thing we do when you become a Record360 customer is integrate with your business system. Whatever business system you use today, we will pull in your work orders into this list as they are created in your business system, and then they populate here. When they first come in here, they always show up as work order opened, and we will assign them to whatever technician you have in your system and the appropriate service manager. We also support any number of locations that you might have. So if you have multiple locations, we can pull in work orders from all of those locations. For the purposes of this demonstration, I will just create a fake work order up here manually so that you can see how this would work. So give it a random number. The unit number is going to be the unit that is being serviced. And then I'll just put in a customer ID, which again, we would pull in through your integration, and we'll put in a customer name, and then a contact name. I will actually use myself as the customer in this example, just so that you can see what this would look like. I'll put in my own phone number. So I've now set myself up as a customer, and I will go ahead and create that work order. And you'll see here in a moment, this is the work order we just created. It is now in status work order opened. And just to orient you, we see here on the left all of that information that we pull in from your business system. So who is your customer, Do they prefer to be contacted via text or email? We support either. What unit are we servicing? We can pull in the make, model, year for that specific unit as well. And then again, if we have the integration set up, then you would see the technician and the manager that have been assigned, and you can put in a little description. And the first thing that we'll want to do is actually create an inspection. Since this has just come in, we want to make sure that we document the condition of this equipment right as it has come in before I've started any service. And I do see someone asking if we integrate with DIS. We do. So just going to answer that on the fly while we're going. So I will go ahead and switch to my mobile app just to show you. We'll be doing the inspection on my phone. So go ahead and switch to my phone. Oh, let me try that again. Okay. Hopefully you can see my phone. I can't see any of you. So Damon, maybe you just give me a verbal.
Yep, you got your phone.
Okay, great. So what we're looking at here is now my mobile phone, and this is the Record360 app in the phone. And I'll show you right here that work order we just created. So your technicians would primarily be working off of a mobile device. That can be a phone, tablet, whatever you supply them with. And you can see right here the work order at the top. That's the one we just created. They can also filter on their technician name over here, so they can see only the work orders assigned to them, but I'll just go ahead and click on that. And like I said, up here, we see new inspection. So that is what is going to let us kick off a brand new inspection on this piece of equipment. Just updated. Okay, and this is the beginning screen where we can pick what type of inspection we're creating. So since this is a service inspection, I will tap on service, but you can, if for some reason your specific dealership did rental, you can also actually set up separate workflows for rental as well, which I'll explain in a moment. So the first thing I do on this screen is select the workflow for this specific inspection. So let's say that this is a customer intake inspection. And from here, I'm shown a checklist that your technician would fill out. This is fully customizable. We have 12 different field types that you can select from. You can name these fields anything that you want. So in this example, we have, you asking for the customer name, mileage, generator hours, whatever, but you could say whatever. And then we have checkbox fields, as you see here, which you can customize. We also have pass-fail fields. So lots of different options for you to customize what exactly you want to capture on this initial intake.
And Kat, can I just add?
Go ahead.
So again, I referenced in the intro that the backbone of our system is our inspection tool. And this is just one sample of a workflow with ServicePro. And she's going to show you how that ties to ServicePro here. I'm just highlighting, we can dig into this as well. Thanks, Kat.
Yep, exactly. So when I hit continue, I'm taken to step 2, which is the photo video step. So we use video and photo technology for you to document your assets. And if I click on new capture, you can see that it will actually open the phone screen. The big red button in the middle would start a video. This captures audio as well. And what our customers often do is literally just a 30-second walk around where they hold up their phone and will walk around the piece of equipment to document it. I'll go ahead and start a video. And if you tap your screen during the video, it can actually take a photo in that moment, a still photo, which lets you document any damage that took place. So that's particularly important, obviously, in the service case. If someone drops something off and you find damage, you do not want to be blamed for that damage after the fact. So you can use this. You can see here, this is the photo I took. You can select those photos to indicate where there was maybe pre-existing damage and then mark it as such and save it off so that your customer can see that. So I'll just go ahead and upload this inspection. So that has now uploaded, and I will switch back to the desktop just to show you what that looks like in the desktop. So At that point, the technician's work on the inspection side is really done. So your service manager could come in here, they go back to the work order, and you see the inspection has now been completed. That status automatically updated. I didn't have to do anything. And the service manager gets a push notification and an alert in the dashboard letting them know an inspection has been completed. So if you think about things kind of sitting around because people don't know what to do, our automatic alerts basically let you keep work orders moving through their life cycle. So I see inspection has been completed. I'll scroll down. You see this is now here, this inspection I just did. I'll go ahead and hit send. I can say, hi, you can see there was some pre-existing damage. We'll get started on the service work now. So I'll go ahead and send this. This will send a text message to the customer. In this case, it's sent to myself. And you can see here, this is the text message that went out with that text that I just wrote. And I'll just go ahead and click on this link to show you, this is what the customer would see. They now have a copy of this exact report that we just created. So they have all of the information you filled out, all of the photos you took. You can select or deselect photos. If your technician took a bad photo, you can hide some. So they don't have to see this whole report, but that's essentially what your customer would be getting.
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
So is there a maximum amount of inspection points? There is not. So you can, we have customers that have like 250 inspection points. And the other nice thing I didn't touch on this is you can actually add what we call kind of guides to your photos to say, you want the same 10 photos each time. You could add that little guiding text on the photo, and that way you can kind of enforce what types of photos you get from your technicians as well. So now that our inspection has been completed, we'll go ahead and create an estimate. So I'll click on new estimate. And this is just a lightweight estimate tool. Let's say the service work will be $1,000. I could say $500 for parts, $500 for labor, and then maybe include a message. Hi there, here's your initial estimate. Let me know what you think. A lot of our customers also will attach a rate sheet or a labor sheet, and then the estimate out of your business system, let's call it DIS, so you can attach any files here as well. So I'll just click on send estimate. And you can see this now sent a text message to the customer. We'll see the estimate populate in a second. Here it is. And this sent directly to the customer. They can open this obviously on their mobile phone. I'll open it on my computer since this is where we are, just to show you what this looks like. So they on their phone would see the service estimate with the estimate amount, any notes you included, and then basically they just sign off on it. Once they provide a signature, they approve it. They can reject it as well. So if they did not approve of this estimate, they could reject it. I'll just go ahead and sign it. And then I'll head back to our work order and I'll look at this question while that's loading. Can techs or customers send pictures or videos back to managers from the field while diagnosing issues for repair? Great question. Yes, I will show you, David, in a moment how we can do that. So we can see that the status now went to estimate approved. Again, sends an alert to the service manager. The estimate has been approved. So this is a good segue now into the last question we just got. So you see here this tab, internal comments and activity. I can head over here to leave internal comments for anyone. So I could say at Damon, this has been approved. Please start on service work right away. The nice thing is if I were to open this on my phone, you see this attach button, I can attach photos and videos here and send them back as well. So this is a internal communication stream where now Damon could reply and say at Kat, what do you think of this? And then attach a video or a photo for me to look at, and it will all be housed on this work order and the customer would not see it. Do you integrate with any third-party credit card processors to send payment link through text? Not at this time, but we are building that in the new year in January. So we'll be integrating with Stripe, if you're familiar with that.
Then I want to go back to David's question. So Kat, thank you for highlighting the internal comms, but the question was around, can customers and techs send videos or photos to help with diagnosis back to the manager? And we definitely can do that within ServicePro, but we have several customers that leverage Inspect Pro, and there's a lot of tools that we can get into if you'd like around this, maybe separately, where you can send links to customers to, do videos, photos, walk-arounds to help diagnose things. And then there's lots of mobile service techs out there that are using our tool to document things. And then maybe the more senior tech back at the, the shop is viewing the video or photo and providing guidance on that. So the answer is generally yes. And we have several ways to support that.
Yes, sorry, David, I just read your question again. Yes, so what I explained also, the same exact thing would work if the customer texted back here, which again, it's my phone, so I can text back, I guess. But they can send you photos and videos and they would show up here in line as well. So now that the estimate has been approved, I will go ahead and just move this to in repair. So this indicates now this is in repair. Maybe I'll say to the customer, ETA for this is 1 week. I'll check back in next week. Then I'll send that text. So that would text them. They could text back, thank you, or whatever they want to say. And I would see that here. And then once you close out this work order in your business system, it automatically closes in Record360. So I can move it to work order closed, or you can close it in your business system, and that would complete this work. I will now touch on our reporting as well. So you can see here on the left reports, and this shows you some lightweight reports on work orders. So you can see, for the last 7 days, how many work orders have been opened, how many have been closed, and how much total dollars have been approved in those estimates. And if you had multiple locations set up, you can also see total dollars approved by location. So this is really helpful if you want to diagnose, location A has only $100 approved, what's going on there. You could pretty easily see that on this chart. Here you can also see estimates by location. So whether they've been approved, rejected, or awaiting response. Again, this would let you diagnose if one of your locations is getting all of their estimates rejected. You could see what's going on there. And then lastly, some granular data. You can see SMS, email inspections performed by all of your locations, just to make sure that you have adoption across locations. And then the same exact data by user as well. So if you wanted to see which of your service managers or technicians were creating the most inspections, sending the most text messages, you could see that here as well. And then just to touch on the inspections piece, since we saw a little bit of that, if I head over to inspections, this will show me my full list of inspections that have been done. This includes the service inspections that we do, but also rental or really any other use case that you might have. They will all show up in this list, and you can see them for a specific unit. So you can start to kind of see the full history for that specific unit and see what inspections you've done. I'll pause there. Damon, anything else you want to show? And also any other questions you guys have, you can.
So real quick, back to and I think we can delve into the inspection side with some of the features that may be interesting, but back to the ServicePro, if you can go back there, Kat, I just want to reinforce something around, if you just go into any one of the work orders there. So on the internal comments and activity, can you click that, Kat? She went over this pretty quick, but what we've learned, so obviously we're keeping a record here of all the communications. She's shown you the @mention piece about communicating, but one of the things we've heard from our customers that are using this is the benefit here is there's an internal communications that help expedite the work and update the team on the progress of the work. And we'll be adding some additional features. And Kat, I don't know if you want to talk about this, about the progress of work internally. Of where it's moving through the stage, kind of similar to some of the other products that we've seen out there as it relates to that. And really the big piece here is just to reinforce, we're also, reducing the amount of phone calls coming in and centralizing, the progress internally as the repair goes through your shop. I just wanted to kind of double down on that because we've heard that's really important to the techs and the communication between the customer facing folks and the text.
Yeah, definitely. We recently implemented this with a John Deere dealer actually, and they said that prior to this tool, they were running sticky notes back and forth between the shop and the service desk. And I'm sure that's what many of you are doing today. So what they were able to start doing was actually just coming in here at mentioning each other, sent a text message, sent a notification right to their phone so that nobody had to actually leave their workspace. And they were able to communicate much more quickly and turn around their work orders more quickly because they weren't waiting on, someone physically communicating a message across the shop. Any other questions from folks?
I'll jump in here with one while we're waiting for people to gather their thoughts and submit them with that through the panel. I know you mentioned that integrating with Stripe is something that's coming up in the new year. What other features do you have planned coming up?
Yeah, so one big one is customer satisfaction surveys. So as work orders close, we will automatically send a CSAT survey to that customer asking them to provide a star rating. That then gets fed back to you, so you know how you did. And then there's the opportunity to ask them to leave a review on one of your review sites as well. And you'll be able to pull reports on that. So that's a big one that's coming as well.
Do we want to talk about also, Kat, the enhancements as it relates to multiple levels of communication to get approvals?
Can you clarify?
Sorry. So what we've been told and what I believe we have on the roadmap is around having multiple folks getting the communications at an organization. So like if approval is required by someone beyond just say the manager, maybe the general manager would get a notification as well on the customer side. That's a feature that's coming as well. So you have multiple points.
Yeah, you could essentially CC a contact onto your communications as well. We just got one. Will Record360 track by equipment numbers? I'm going to have you clarify that a little bit further.
Jim, if you can just type any additional clarification in there, we'll take that.
What phone numbers the customer interacting with? Can we use our current business numbers? That's a great question. So I actually am not sure if we can use current business numbers. We get you set up with a phone number, but I'm not entirely sure if that can be an existing phone number. So I can check back on that, Nick, and then get back to you.
And then I can take a stab at Jim's question. Oh, yeah, equipment numbers. Yeah, so Jim, we definitely can have multiple points to track. And if you're talking inspections, so you can choose either a model number, unit number, whatever your main unit, stock number is what, when you implement with us, we set that up as the kind of the standard that your whole team uses. And then Kat, you may want to just go to the unit view. And I don't know if Jim was asking about this exactly, but we're a very stock and unit focused product. And we have this unit view, and you can just open that up, the Ag Pro one, Kat. So people that are using our tool across their business, every inspection gets recorded, and you can obviously you can sort all the inspections by unit, but we have this reference point. If you scroll down, Kat, you have the most recent inspection of a unit or a stock number. We load in, if you want to go back up, Kat, we load up all the fleet data, right? We pull in the fleet data. So you have kind of a life cycle of the asset over time. And if you slide down, Kat, a little more, you have a history of where the most recent inspection happened. You also have a history of all the inspections, work order history, and then we have a task component. So you have a really nice snapshot of an asset over its life cycle, which becomes really valuable when you're, evaluating it to sell it. And hopefully that,
Jim, we can use really any number so it can be equipment number, model number. It just has to be consistent. So whatever you want to use, we can work with. And Jeremy, I see you have the same question as Nick. So I will hopefully have an answer before the end of this demonstration, and then I can get back to both of you.
But either way, I don't know, Kat, if you mentioned it, when people start with ServicePro, you get obviously an area code specific number. So it looks like it's coming from the same region. And that's a really good question. That's that new of a product, guys. We don't know if we can use your.
Do you integrate with CDK? Yes, we do. So we currently have a one-way integration. We pull data out of CDK, and next year we'll be working on a two-way integration. CDK just released a new API, which is exciting. So we'll be able to push back into CDK as well. Okay, it looks like phone number for now has to be new because that's what the technology allows. So we have some of our other customers have just swapped out the phone number on their website for moving forward.
I'll jump in here with another question too. I know a lot of our dealers earlier this year lost access to AgriSync. So I was wondering, we've seen some of the features that ServicePro has, but how do they compare to AgriSync? What's the same, what's different, and what in your opinion is better?
Yeah, so AgriSync there's another big one in the market that recently a lot of dealers have had to switch off of. So it seems to be happening quite a bit. AgriSync did not have texting or emailing. So there was no way to actually communicate, or maybe it was just, they didn't have texting. So there was no way to text with your customers. So we've had a couple folks come off of AgriSync onto our platform for that reason, because it's much easier with a mobile heavy population now to text with people.
And I would just say, just to add to that, what's different, Michaela, and thank you for the question. We built this ServicePro product, on our foundation of our InspectPro product, because we're experts in the heavy duty industries, and we're very focused on, creating the tools that support the businesses. And I'd say the biggest difference between us and really any solution out there that's related to communications with customers is we're coming at it from the heavy duty equipment dealers perspective. And we're leveraging our inspection and mobile workflow tools and simply adding the functionality to support the communications with the customers. So I'd say the big difference between us and anybody that's going to be out there is that we're very committed to this space. And we're not just a texting platform. We're not really coming at it from that perspective. We kind of view texting as kind of a commodity in some respects. And really, we're just adding a feature to our expertise in mobile workflows for the businesses we work with.
Yeah, that's interesting perspective too, because I know some of the dealers that I've talked to are taking these products that exist for any sort of sales application and trying to fit it into equipment, whereas you guys are adding a feature to something that's already equipment focused.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And I would also just add, for those of you who don't know anything about Record360, all of these products and our growth over the years, have really been driven by a pretty strong interaction with our customer base. And pretty much every product that we're showing you here, and we can get into more detail in SpecPro or SalesPro if somebody wanted, but these are all driven by feedback from our customer base to solve specific issues in the dealership. So while this product is brand new, there's lots of enhancements coming, and SpecPro has grown over 7 years based on that feedback, and we're just as excited about ServicePro being enhanced. So our expectation is this product, compared to whatever else you guys may have been using in the past, should exceed the expectations and continue to get better.
When somebody signs up for Record360, are they getting SpecPro and ServicePro, or can they choose just one or the other?
So that's a great question. So we have several tiers of service, and really, if they sign up for ServicePro, they get a very narrow version of SpecPro that's tied specifically to a service process. But most of our customers, if they start with ServicePro, end up expanding to the full SpecPro package, which basically allows them to do unlimited workflows across the business. So for rental, sales, warranty, service, that sort of thing. And again, the way the subscriptions are set up is to support what the needs are of the specific business. And every workflow is customizable based on the business. Did I get that right, Kat? Is there anything you'd add to that?
Nope, that's right.
We had another question come in from Nick. He asks, any thoughts on adding voice talk communication into the workflow of the work order? Some conversations are longer than what a text can handle.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have heard this a bit, and thankfully the mobile technology allows us to add this quite easily. So it's definitely something that we've looked into, especially voice to text. I don't know if you've seen that on the phone. So yeah, definitely something we're looking into.
And also using the voice to text, which you can leverage with the mobile devices. But I think also there's lots of tools that we're looking at that will record conversations. And there's the whole, it's come up, we're not doing it today, but where there's a voice component to this, where it's tracking those conversations, right? So, not only would you have email, text, old school phone, PDFs, you'd have everything there and stored in that inspection view. It's a great question.
Another good question. How do I learn more outside of this webinar? So I'll post in the chat myself and Damon's email addresses, so you can send us an email and we'd be happy to hop on the phone and dig in specifically to your use case. I don't remember who asked about DIS, but we'd love to learn more about your business system and just walk you through the integration for your company specifically.
And we'll also include that information in the email that goes out with the recording to this webinar. So you'll have that, and it'll be real easy to copy and paste and hopefully send off an email. And then I also wanted to ask, when you were talking about some of the features that you're exploring, do you envision these features being added to every customer that you have? Or if a dealer wants something very specific, could they get sort of more of a tailored system to their specific locations?
Yeah, so in general, our approach is kind of building the best system for everyone. So I know in some cases, some of the business systems will have you pay for individual features or access to individual things, but we truly believe in just building the best system that will work for everyone. So as Damon mentioned, we take your input, essentially build it into the platform, and then it becomes generally available to everyone. So customer satisfaction surveys were, for example, a point of feedback from some of our customers, and that will be available to all.
And then additionally to that, I think, the architecture, and we didn't talk a lot about this, from the very beginning, the Record360 architecture is very configurable and customizable. So there are a lot of iterations that you can do out of the box. So even though it's the same product, different instances by customer vary quite a bit, because it's very easy for us to spin those workflows up based on what the needs are. And to give you guys an example of a typical implementation, again, depending on how complex, most of our customers, but by the time they sign up and when they're actually leveraging it across all their locations, I would say we're getting that done within a week or less in most cases, depending on how complex the workflows are and how complex things are moving. Now, ServicePro, again, like Kat's saying, we want to learn more about the integrations. If there's integration components, it'll vary based on what's available. But the main point I'm trying to get across is that it's very flexible as a standalone tool. So if the question was around those workflows, we'd be happy to chat how we can support you.
How long does it typically take you guys to get somebody set up and integrated with whatever dealership management software they're using?
Yeah, so it really depends on how quickly we're able to get sort of joint partnership and movement, but I would say anywhere from 10 days to 4 weeks is pretty average. Just getting the integration set up as the first step and then turning on Record360. Any time we set up a workflow or make changes, we turn those around in 24 hours.
While we don't have any open questions here, I guess I'll just ask you two if there were any other of the, Jeremy just submitted, how long are contracts or are they monthly?
So we do annual agreements. And the reason we do that is we do not charge for any implementation fees or any customizations. So basically, there's just the monthly fees. We ask for an annual commitment on that. But basically, when you sign up, you're paying for your subscription and that's it. Which is why we don't do monthly.
Do you have a limit on how many stores or users can be on somebody's plan?
So, Kat, do you want to take that one just structurally? I mean, for ServicePro, no, there's no limits, and we can handle any size operation.
And then I guess, Jeremy asks again, to clarify, we buy the package not based on amount of users.
Correct. I will clarify on ServicePro, it's unlimited users, so you can have any number of technicians, any number of service managers. If you're buying our inspection product on its own, you get 3 users to start, and then you can ramp up from there. David, when we, if you shoot us an email, we can send you the exact pricing.
And for anyone who's interested in pricing, do they need to include any dealership or location info or anything like that?
We'll have a couple of questions to ask as a follow-up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just say on that, like, we do have tiered pricing and it's pretty standard, but there's certain elements of each business we'd have to understand to give an appropriate quote. And also, just something to add, if there is interest from anyone here, part of our process too, we're happy to, set up trials and things like that as part of the buying process, because we don't want customers to buy something that they don't love.
I know you mentioned earlier that you've been incorporating customer feedback into the products as they've developed. What pain points do your customers say that ServicePro addresses?
The big one definitely is more seamless customer communication. We hear all the time that they went from feeling like a call center, like people are just calling them all the time, to now being able to streamline everything into a single portal where they can text back and forth. And, obviously you're going to still have to pick up the phone for some people. We're not going to say that won't happen, but definitely people have been able to reduce call volume. And the other thing I'd say is just generally feeling like they can close work orders more quickly because they're not sitting around in a limbo state because people didn't know what they were supposed to be doing.
And then Jeremy asks, do you have any APIs into DocuSign?
Yes, so DocuSign does have open APIs, as do we. So we would be able to set up, that would definitely be a custom integration that we would have to work with you on to link up into your exact DocuSign instance, but they are easy to work with.
And just to pile on again, we're covering a very specific product set. In Inspect Pro, we do have an e-signature component, which is a more simplified version, and we're happy to kind of walk through how customers are using that as well. It's an alternative, I guess, to DocuSign. And then Jim, I'll reach out to you to talk about your business and the product. Thank you for the question, or the request, I should say.
You guys must have answered every question because people are quiet right now. I guess I'll just jump in again and ask, could you tell us a little bit more about, I know we talked about Inspect Pro keeps coming up. How does the dealer benefit from having both Inspect Pro and Service Pro versus just the more narrow use case that comes with Service Pro?
You want me to grab that, Kat?
Go for it.
Yeah, so Inspect Pro, when people use our whole suite of products, they essentially have a tool to create a mobile workflow to serve any purpose across the business. So as an example, we have customers that may start with one product like Service Pro, and then they quickly realize that they have processes in the business which maybe have paper checklists or forms, or processes where they're doing documentation in a non-mobile environment. And having Inspect Pro combined with Service Pro allows you to have an unlimited toolkit, basically, to create mobile workflows to support the operation. So as an example, we have dealers that will set up very specific, for example, in preventative maintenance, they might have multiple types of preventative maintenance checklists that they might have paper that they're using because it's manufactured recommended. We overnight essentially can spin up a digital version of that to eliminate that paper and incorporate video and photo with it, as an example. And that same customer might also have a warranty process where they're documenting warranty claims, and they might be doing it in a way where they're taking photos, filling out a PDF form, and then combining the two and sending an email. We could spin up a workflow that does it all in one swoop with a mobile environment where you take the videos, photos, fill out the form, and have the communications and emails and text go to all interested parties right on the spot. And then as a third example, and we talked about Sales Pro a bit, we have customers that are using the tool in the end of life or at the sale side of the business. So whether it's for appraisals for used equipment, right? A lot of people will be, selling equipment, and then they might be taking a trade in. So if they have Inspect Pro, they can use Inspect Pro to have a workflow that allows them to have a customer basically do a self-appraisal and send the dealer a video, photo, condition, a very customized workflow that they actually can then put a number on that machine and essentially make a deal without having to drive 50 miles to see the machine, that sort of thing. So those are three examples of the benefit of combining all the products. Anything you want to add to that, Kat?
Nope, I think that was a good summary.
We're getting close to our time here, so I'll put in one last call for questions from anyone who still has questions. And then I'll pose the question to you, Kat and Damon. Any last words as we're getting ready to wrap up here?
Just thanks all for joining. It was great having you, and we look forward to having you reach out. As we said, you can email myself, Damon, and we'll be happy to walk you through your exact use case and see how ServicePro can work for you.
And Damon, any additional words from you?
Pat said it perfectly. We're appreciative and thankful for everyone's time. I know everyone's busy, and we're just excited about this product and excited about the opportunity to work in the ag space. It's very exciting for us. So thank you, everyone. And thank you guys for setting up a nice, well-run webinar.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you joining us. And to everybody, thank you for joining us today. And just a reminder that this presentation and the audio will be made available on the Precision Farming Dealer website if you'd like to review what was talked about today or send it to anybody on your team to check out ServicePro. You'll also get an email with the link to the webinar recording as well as somebody who signed up. So make sure to check your email from that for that. And on behalf of everybody, Damon, Kat, Record360, and Noah and I at Precision Farming Dealer, thanks for joining us. And please feel free to reach out with any feedback. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the day.